Hi, welcome to our DIY series here at the Children's Science Center Lab. I'm Audrey, and today I'm going to be showing you our Hidden Color Chemistry Mysterious Colors experiment. Now, to do this at home, you'll need 2 plastic cups, a sponge cut up into 2 small pieces, 1 in each cup, some water, some filter paper like coffee filters work just fine, and you'll take your coffee filter and you're going to want to cut it into 3 separate strips. Now on 2 of these strips, I've drawn a little line down at the bottom with a small arrow and pencil. And on the 3rd one, I've gone ahead and I've had somebody else do this for me, so it's a mystery. I've had them draw a little dot on this paper in addition to those pencil marks. Now, I don't know which marker made this dot, so let's see if we can figure out how to find out what it is today. All right, so here I have some colored markers, and I'm not sure which one made this dot. I think though first I can determine that since it's a black dot on this piece of paper, it probably wasn't my colored markers. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those over to the side since I know those definitely didn't make those marks. But now I'm not sure. I have a Crayola marker and then I have a coloration marker. And they're both black markers, so how am I gonna figure out which one made this particular dot? The first thing you're gonna wanna do is take your 2 pieces of filter paper strips that you don't have any dots on and draw a dot. I'm gonna put my Crayola marker dot right on that little line, and I'm also gonna draw a C on top so I know that this was my Crayola one, so I don't get mixed up at the end. And then I'm gonna take my colorations marker and draw another dot right on that line. And this one, I'm just gonna put an X on top. That way I know they're different and I remember which one's my mystery dot. All right, now that we have our pieces of paper set, let's go ahead and get some water in our cups. I'm using this beaker here, large beaker and a small beaker, just to make it a little bit easier to pour. And all I need is enough water to get that sponge kind of wet. I'm gonna leave a little extra at the bottom so it can soak more up if it's too dry. I might add just a little more water to this one. Again, the amount of water doesn't really matter as long as you have just a little bit to get your sponge wet, but not enough that your whole sponge is completely submerged in water. All right, now that my cups are set, let's go ahead and put our pieces of paper in our water. Now the reason I'm doing this is because if you've ever used paints before and you've mixed a whole bunch of paints together, you know that it sometimes makes kind of a dirty brown, dirty dark, mainly a mixed color. So we're gonna see if any of these markers have different colors in them. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my Crayola marker paper just on that sponge, not so that the dot is in the water, but just so that the very bottom of this piece of paper touches the sponge. And we're gonna let that sit for a couple minutes and see if anything happens. Now I'm noticing that the water seems to be going upwards, which if you've ever watched it rain, is normally the opposite of what water does. Normally water goes down. So what's happening here is called capillary action. This filter paper is actually allowing the water to climb up on top of itself and walk up the piece of paper. Plants do the same thing to get water to go up them. The water is polar, so it sticks to itself and it will climb up and up and up to where there is the least amount of water. Now once our water has touched the colors, it's actually gonna pull that marker and the colors inside with it upwards. And this is where we're gonna see if we can figure out what our mystery dot is, to see if the different types of colors that make up these markers are the same or if they're a little bit different. Now to speed up time, I'm gonna just move my 1 piece of paper with my dot that I know I made over to the 2nd cup. And I'm gonna go ahead and add my mystery dot over into my 1st cup. Let's get that water moving up through that capillary action. So while our mystery dot's moving, let's go ahead and take a look at the ones that I made and let's see what happened here. All right, so here's my Crayola marker and here is my colorations marker. Now I notice they both still have a lot of black in the marker, but my Crayola one has a little bit of this really bright blue coming out, whereas my colorations marker is almost more teal and has a little bit more brown inside of it. So we definitely know that the 2 companies that made these markers, although they both ended up making a black color, they obviously used kind of a different type of mixture of colors. At home, you guys can again use paints and see if you can make your own type of black color with different mixtures. Now that our water's had a chance to climb up this piece of paper, let's compare the 3. All right, So we know we have our Crayola marker dot on this paper, our colorations dot on here, and then this was our mystery dot. It looks like we have a lot of extra brown in this marker and some teal coloration. So I'm gonna say that this dot was made by our colorations marker and not our Crayola marker, based on the fact that it does have more teal, a little bit less of this bright blue, and much more brown. Now the last part of this activity is you can make your own little tie-dye shirt at home. So take a piece of filter paper, and just like a coffee filter, you can go ahead and cut it up into a little t-shirt shape like this. Now we get to use our fun colors. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw lots of designs. Let's see, I'm gonna do some dots all over this. I might do some squiggles, but I'm gonna leave some extra white space on here. Because if we look back at our black marker, we know that that color is gonna kind of bleed out and spread out through the paper. So if I color the entire piece of paper, all my colors will just mix together. So I'm gonna do some polka dots, and then I'm gonna do a last little bit of squiggles kind of around the side. And you can use any type of marker, any type of colors that you want. Once you're done, we're gonna go ahead and kind of crinkle this up and put it right on top of our wet sponge in the cup. Now you don't need to get it wet enough to have it soaking completely, but just a couple seconds you kind of squish it on there will be just enough. And then I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. Now if you notice, some of my colors have already started to move. So I'm gonna just lay this out on the table and let this dry. I might get a little extra wet. And let's see if my colors move at all. Wasn't that so cool how all the colors moved? Go ahead and try this at home and share in the comments your t-shirts that you made. Thanks for watching. Bye.